hello everybody. I'm Molu.
And I'm Oona, and this is One Couple Versus, and today we're up against Warframe DevStream 117.
Heyo.
Hey, dang, it's already 117. I feel like we've been covering a lot of these.
But more importantly, welcome to episode 1.
Yeah, welcome to the new feed, guys. I hope you guys found this feed safely.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't confuse anyone if for the rest of time I call this season 2, because to us it feels like season 2. So
yeah, so if you guys are just joining us in our podcast and these Warframe adventures and stuff like that, at least for this episode, definitely go back and look for TennoTalk on your feed of choice, and you can find our first season essentially there. Yeah, so I'm excited. So yeah.
But wow, 117 was pretty full.
I know. So we happened to miss it with work and stuff like that. At least I missed it. So going back through it, man, this was a lot of information.
Yes, it was.
And it was another one of those where we got the information and it wasn't like new stuff, but it was like they took the stuff we already knew and then clarified a little bit more.
Right. And those tend to be, I feel like, whether they actually are more informative or not, I don't know, but they always feel like it, because instead of like one or two things that they talk about for 45 minutes, this is like 30 things that they talked about for like 2 minutes. So yeah, it's the same like amount of information, but when we put our outlines together, it's like 50 bullet points as opposed to like 4.
Yes, it's a very long outline today for this. So one of the really cool things that kind of got brought up is they actually recognize that they're in a content drought right now. With nothing coming out. And I know like a lot of companies deal with stuff like that. I mean, it's inevitable when you have a game that's constantly updating and patches coming out. But I think it was really cool to like for them to just say, yes, we know this is happening. Yeah,
it makes me wonder, like I tend to avoid the Reddit lately and the actual forums. I'm almost never there and all that stuff. And so they must have like, there must be a little bit of a pushback on this whole wait for Fortuna and everything. So I wonder like if this was in response to something, but I mean, every game goes through it and I don't think it feels as bad as some games' content droughts.
This isn't like WoW. WoW's content drought.
I was literally about to say I won't drop any names, but if we're going to throw people under the bus...
Oh, I will.
Yeah, that's fine.
We won't hold back.
Final Fantasy 2 has...
Yeah, I mean,
but you know exactly...
you
know when their content droughts are coming, so...
That's fair.
But yeah, like with this, like they've still had events going on, even if it's not new stuff. Like the Revenant just came out. Yeah, it's not a ton of content, but the game still feels like it's getting updates.
Yeah, plus I mean, Plaguestar was here for the PC.
We just had Plaguestar, and they mentioned that PS4 and Xbox are going to be getting the Pyrus project hopefully this week.
Yes.
This week or next. Well, they said next week on Friday, so we'll call it this week. They said hopefully it was going to cert, so we should be seeing it soon. So yeah, you console guys, that was actually a fun event. I had a good time with it.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it was different than anything we've done before.
Yeah, it was
in
cool.
The game.
It was cool. Like I feel like we actually helped build the relay, even though like I didn't finish it. If
which
I'm being
the
honest.
Relay looks awesome, by the way. Yeah. At least the PC new relay, the Strata relay on Earth looks fantastic. So I'm really excited to see what the console one's going to look like as well.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it's the same one, but the coolest thing to me was seeing the people from Earth and the oh wow, I can't think of their name.
The Orb Valis people.
Yeah, the new people from Orb Valis. It was cool to see them, or I guess from Fortuna. Orb Valis is just the map. But anyway, it was cool to see them like out in the world instead of sequestered to their own respective zones. Kind of world building stuff. It's always good to see.
Yeah. So. And I also thought about this when they said they were acknowledging the content drought and that there's a lot of pressure for Fortuna and all this other stuff coming in. I'm wondering if part of that is also a kickback because of Melee 3.0. Because like a couple dev streams ago, it sounded like we were getting really close. And then last dev stream, all they said was, you're going to be able to shoot now a little bit easier and it's going to be a little bit more fluid. And we're changing the cast times on this and the animation times. And that was it. And they're like, and we're still working on a lot of it. And I was like, wait, I thought that was like maybe a couple weeks from coming out. And now it seems like it's going to be a lot longer.
Yeah. And I think they even said something in this one that mainline basically is going to have like the audio and some hit detection stuff. They mentioned like hearing the sound effects of like particularly long weapons. I think they called out the bow staff for when it looks like the weapon clips through the floor. The system plays the audio like you landed a hit. They're just cleaning some of that stuff up. And then also, I think that was like that's all that's coming right now. They mentioned the quick swapping, channel Super Saiyan mode, and the directional slam are all working, but everything else they're going through and polishing up. So it's starting to sound. I think they even made this joke. It sounds like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And I think this. I know he said it at some point, and I think this was it, because it's like they get everything going, and they're like, okay, now we need to clean up, and then it's like, oh, we kind of made it sound like this was coming out in the next couple weeks, and now it's definitely not. So
that kind of makes me think of the computer joke that's always out there of the 99 bottles, 99 bugs of code. Bugs in the code, take one down, patch it around, 107 bugs in the code.
Yep.
I'm wondering if they're just having that, like somebody, and I'm glad that they're testing it, because that means that somebody there is screwing with it to find everything else that needs fixed.
Yeah,
so I can't complain.
For sure.
It's just taking a while.
I definitely I'm excited about Melee 3, but I'm not like hyped, I guess is probably the best way to say it. Like, my enjoyment of the game isn't resting on Melee 3, and I know that for some people that it is. And I totally understand that. But for me, like, I'm just not that bothered by it at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm more looking for Fortuna, which they did say, at least for our computer and our PC players here, the update will be a mainline to set up Fortuna. So we should be getting an update that's going to be setting that up. So essentially, to me, that thing's like they're throwing some of the code in there to get it ground lined and everything, to make everything, make that transition to get Fortuna on easier, which is going to be really nice. And they also mentioned that there's a lot's coming in the fall, which, while we're talking about Fortuna and the patches, I find it kind of funny because I remember this specifically from TennoCon. And I remember we even touched on it on our TennoCon coverage podcast episode that Fortuna and Railjack are separate. And I remember, because when I had it pulled up, and Jeremy was telling me about this, because we had like the chat, so you could see chat going, and we even had our Discord, and a bunch of people were like, wait, Fortuna and Railjack are separate? And we're like, yeah, like, they are separate. They said, like, one is coming this fall, and then the next one's coming after. Even on the video, it says after Fortuna.
Well, that was, I think that was part of the clarification from the first dev stream after TennoCon. When they took that break and they came back and they really went in depth and broke down everything that they had kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
I think that's the one where Steve came out, no bones about it, said 2019 for Railjack.
Yeah.
Which implied, like, you could argue it's part of the Fortuna update, but it's not coming with Fortuna.
Yeah.
It is going to be a bit of a wait.
Yeah, I do think it was kind of interesting, though, like, while we're just kind of going on this, that it was confirmed that it was not just a mini mission that was attached to Fortuna. I know Molu and I had talked about that a little bit before, and I was a little bit worried because in the dev build, in the guided thing that we saw at TennoCon, you see that come down and the Railjack show up while she's on, like, while they were on Venus and out on or Valis, and that kind of worried me a little bit. Like, is this going to be only accessible from certain planets?
Right.
Or, how's this going to work? But it is confirmed that this is an entirely new way to play. It's missions, and it's going to have its own types, and they're going to basically build another thing for this. Yeah,
the way Steve talks about it is, if you really wanted to jump the shark, you could call this Warframe 2. Because the way he keeps saying stuff like, this is going to redefine the way you play Warframe.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, that's a bunch of corporate buzzwords strung together. Like, I get, like, that sounds like a marketing pitch to
exactly.
me. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's meaning to deceive us. I don't hear the faint hum of EA, EA's voice in there or any crap like that. But it does definitely still have a bit of promise to it, even though, like I said, I don't think any of that is true, but I do think, this is a big deal, and I think he wants it to be a big deal. So I think they're going to take care of it.
Yeah, part of me also wonders though if this is going to be like for like you said, not jumping the shark, and this is like a Warframe 2 and a whole new way to play Warframe, like an entirely new way. How is that going to affect what's already there? Like, I don't know. Part of me is like really excited for this, and I think it's really cool. It's really cool for like us, where we like to play together a lot. You know, when we're playing games. I mean, we don't call us one couple versus for nothing.
It's true.
A lot of the times we are co-oping games, or we are literally couch co-oping them, or what we've done before, and we did this with Heavy Rain. We're trading the controller back and forth.
Yep.
Because like we love sharing the gaming together, and for us, it's about playing together, but it's also like playing with everybody else that we like. You know, all of our community and our friends and our family that are also gamers. So I'm really interested, kind of how this is going to fit in a little bit, like. Is this going to be a new way to experience the entire game?
No.
Or is it going to be like just certain areas? Are they going to introduce these as part of missions onto the planet? I don't know. I'm really excited.
I mean, I still think like all the signs point to like this is, for lack of a better frame of reference, because this doesn't really fit the idea of Warframe, but it's endgame. Like this is like after you've completed the solar system, here's like 50 more missions to go explore the galaxy while doing these other missions and attacking Corpus ships. Like, I don't think this is going to change the existing nodes in any way.
I know we talked about this on a spoiler one, so if you haven't played Sacrifice, you'll probably have heard this word throw around, or just shut your ears for a quick second. But I really do think that this would be really cool as a way to introduce Teo. Because they did say that there was there was no stopping on how far this could go. And how far these could take us. So I think this would be a really cool way to introduce us to a new solar system. So you play through the game, like the base solar system now, you do some railjack missions, and there's all of the fun ones. And then you can also take the railjack, and that leads you to other quote-unquote solar systems to keep going. So it's literally like after hey, what solar system are you on? Oh, I'm on Earth. Oh, I just finished Teo. Oh, I'm on to the next one. Like, and railjack is that bridge, and then you can start introducing those railjack missions on the new system planets for, you know, protecting the planet by stopping this big missile strike that was going to go tear it up.
And then that kind of bleeds over into our idea of when they do expand eventually, because they've said they want to a new solar system, and it's the Teo system. Then they can start like introduce a planet with each major update, and then by the end of like a year, you have a full solar system for the Teo system, as they've piecemealed in this content, and then it would feel more like Guild Wars 2's Living Story, where they drop the maps in intermittently, and I think that would be cool. I think that's a decent direction to take it without spreading the team too thin with another gargantuan update.
Yeah. And I will say another thing, and we're kind of jumping around here a little bit, but as these are coming up, I think they kind of linked really together. I know we're looking forward towards all the Railjack and the Fortuna, and we're looking forward to stuff that's coming up and like the newer stuff. But I still love this company for the fact that they're coming back and remastering stuff already. So Jupiter. Holy crap, Jupiter.
Oh, man.
Not only are the Gas City, but all of those Jupiter remaster stuff. And not only is it just they're updating the maps and updating the tile sets that you're going to get and like how they all lay down, but there's also new enemy types coming in. There's new lighting and textures that are coming in on top of it, and new ambient audio. So this is like a full overhaul. It's going to be a different game on Jupiter now.
If for some reason you're listening to us before you heard this dev stream, you need to go watch the dev stream, because I didn't see in the like preview or the refresher page or whatever it is, I didn't see the video clip from when they explored the Gas City map itself, but they actually load into a mission. It doesn't have any enemies on it, but they load into a mission so that it randomly assorts all the tiles.
Yeah, so it generates the map.
And the new Corpus tile sets look great in those little GIFs and the quick little demos of a single piece of the tile that they've been showing us. Seeing everything strung together with all the lighting and all the new textures and everything like together, it's a whole new game.
Yeah.
Like, this is, so it felt like, it's not a whole new game. That's not what I meant to say. It felt like you just bought a PS4 and you're playing your favorite game, like let's say The Last of Us is your favorite game, right? And you played it on PS3 and you got that platinum. You spent so much time with it, and then you got a PS4, and the first game you got was The Last of Us with the remaster. Everything looks better and shinier and newer and more polished. Like, that's how it felt. Like, this is like Warframe HD.
It's like playing Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, that's a better example.
Because that company took all of the old assets and then basically redid all of the assets to make them identical but better.
Yep.
Essentially. So it'd be like doing that. But this is impressive. Everything looks better. And I guess I never realized like how, I hate to use this word, basic the sci-fi stuff in Jupiter looked. Like the walls around the doors and stuff, like they weren't that detailed. But I never noticed it because I was usually like running around shooting stuff, enjoying my cool effects on my Warframe and how good my Warframe looked, that I didn't look around that much on the Corpus maps. And now I'm like looking through hardcore on all of the maps, and now I'm just like, all right, we're going to be getting new stuff, which I know Steve has said several times that as they're updating those, and like when they showed us the really cool new like the places on Orvalis, sorry, I can't even think of the word for it, on Orvalis, those new like research facilities and stuff, and they showed us those tiles, and like those are going to reflect back. No matter how excited I am for stuff moving forward, I'm just so glad that this company's also looking back.
Yeah, for sure.
And if they're doing this with Jupiter, I cannot wait until they touch the Grenier stuff and they, touch the Void and like the Orican stuff and really just kind of breathe life back into the old maps.
And you can see a little bit of it when you look at the difference between Earth and the Kuva Fortress. Mm-hmm. It's like Kuva Fortress. Like, I feel like it's a slightly different faction of the Grenier that do the Kuva stuff, but you can see where they took the existing aesthetic and they kind of bumped it up a little bit, as opposed to like those first few, or the first half of Earth, the non-planes of Eidolon touched parts of Earth they feel like they are as old as the game is. Yeah. In a way.
And with all the stuff they're fixing, they did say that they're getting better lighting exposure coming in throughout the whole thing. And I mean, when they were showing us that Orvalis stuff, the lighting like plays a lot of an impact. And I didn't realize it because last dev stream when they had that lighting glitch that happened, we saw like the outside and we're like, wow, this looks really good. And Steve's like, this looks wrong. This looks awful.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? It looks great.
And then the lighting, they reloaded it and they got the lighting to work. And I was like, oh. Yeah. So the fact that they're doing better lighting exposure, I think that alone is going to go back and help a lot of stuff. And you can definitely tell the increase in tech and their use of manipulating the tech. Like as they've upgraded their game, like upgraded the game with the way, gaming technology is moving now. It's really cool to see, how good it's getting.
Yeah. There's another portion of the lighting that's getting an overhaul, and that's they talked about, I think he said it was a bug. It wasn't even something that was working right originally, but the lighting basically when the game senses the screen is too bright, it brightens up the background to sort of even it out.
Yeah, you see this during Eidolons.
No, sorry, it darkens the background or something. Anyway, it's the way the game generates the exposure. Basically, eventually, if there was enough stuff going on all at once, and they bring the Eidolons up a lot in this conversation, that it would get to the point where the blinding ability was the only thing you could see.
Yeah, because it's trying to balance everything out, and as stuff gets brighter and brighter, it's harder to balance that out again. So now,
I guess the way they're going to change that, because it did become like the night sky and the plains of Eidolon was a lot darker while you were fighting the Eidolons. And I guess I noticed that, but I never really noticed that until he said something. And I was like, yeah, it's always harder to see when I am fighting the Eidolon than it is when I'm fishing.
Yeah, and I noticed that too, because we did a lot of fighting the Terralists, so Terry. Mm-hmm. But once we started going through and fighting Terry, Harry, and Gary, all three of them, and doing the Tridolons, I noticed that by the time we got to Gary, it was really hard to see. Yeah. Like everything was so dark, and I kept running into a rock, and so that's something that they're looking at is just because of the way that works, of making sure you can still see instead of bringing the background darker to not over flood with the brightness. They're going to be lowering the brightness down to measure it or something.
No, they're going to raise the brightness. Oh. So as the lightning abilities and stuff are getting blinding, like those, the ability itself will get a little darker while the background will get a little lighter so that it balances out as a whole. And they showed some screenshots, and the screenshots at first, they look like how you remember the Eidolon fights looking. And then you go do one and you're like, oh, I see what they're here. Okay, I gotcha. So,
Got it.
and I think he said it was like a glitch in the code or something of how the exposure was working. So, regardless, I think that's something they said might be coming with the mainline again. Like, I feel like the mainline this time around is going to be enormous.
Yeah, it's just I bet it's gonna be huge, and it's gonna be a lot of like setup too. Like we said earlier, it's gonna be a lot of like the background setup.
Like, do you remember those? This is what I was thinking of when they were explaining, like, because they took a second to explain, that the main line is basically the plugins, where all the updates and stuff are going to go. And all I could think of was those great big flat sheets of Legos where it's just like paper thin and it's the whole sheet,
so
and like, and then you build the castle on top of that. That's all I could think of is like, that's the mainline update. And then they're just gonna plug everything in where it goes.
Well, speaking also of mainline, something else that's coming in mainline is the login rewards. So I know this has been such a contention with the community, and as somebody who's been playing for not the longest but for a while, I don't understand why everybody's so mad, but that is for a whole nother discussion. But we're getting new login rewards, and I really like the implementation of this, just graphically. So you're going to get your login rewards before you even log in, which is awesome.
You've logged in, but you're not like on your
ship, and it blocks it.
Yeah, and I like how they're doing this. Like, it feels more like, hey, thanks for logging in today.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in the way it's presented.
And then it's going to have like your day counter on the top, and then Ortis is going to come over and like give like a thank you or something like that. But I think the coolest stuff is their items are going to scale based on how long you've been logging in. So no longer will I log in and be, yay, my login was 1 neurode.
1 gallium?
1 Terillium. And I don't mind getting 1 Terillium. I mean, shit, it's awesome.
We need it, yeah.
Yeah, I need Terillium. But you can see when Rebecca, like Rebport, did this on the dev stream, she logged in and she almost got like 400 Oxium. Yeah, which was awesome. But also, they're also adding Kuva and Endo.
Well, so they are, but this actually goes in what they called the evergreen rewards.
Cool.
So this is after, I believe they said this is after 1,050 days.
Awesome.
So they did leave, there's a Syandana and an armor set, and I cannot think of the name of it, but those cosmetic items are staying at 800 and 1,000 days.
Cool, that's good.
So they're not going to move those, so that way...
The Lodestar stuff, right?
Lodestar, thank you. So that way you'll still have your symbol of how long you've been playing the game, and I think that's a good thing. I would never disparage that.
Yeah.
But after that, they're doing what's called the Evergreen Rewards, and that is going to include Endo and Kuva, and that's going to be weighted like someone who's been playing for over 1,000 days. That's the weight that they need. So it's enormous amounts. It's like 50,000 Endo, I believe.
Yeah, and Kuva. Yeah, 50,000. Sorry, it's
50,000 Kuva, and I think they said it was 30,000 Endo.
That's so much.
And yeah, to me, as a player who like is just shy of 150, I believe, or no, I'm just shy of 200. I'm at like 180 something now because I've been slacking off the last month or so. But yeah. To someone like me, 50,000 Kuva is enough to just completely lose my shit over.
I know, right?
Like if I logged in and got 50,000 Kuva today, I'd be buying some plat and rolling some.
Speaking of buying plat, you'll never guess what I got for my login reward today.
You got 75?
No, 50% off.
50? Yeah. They can tell we haven't bought it in a while. We're on to you, DE.
We know your secrets.
Give me a 7. Give me a 90. Give me a 90. I'll do it.
Yep.
I'll do it.
Give me a 90 and I'll do it. It'll happen. No, but yeah. So I'm super excited for these. I just think it's a nice change. I think it updates it a little bit.
Yeah.
When they originally mentioned like the choose your own adventure thing, I was immediately thinking of the Black Desert login rewards, which is like a little board game.
Oh yeah, that I would not have enjoyed. Okay, so it's not the worst login reward system I've seen, but in a game where 90% of the game is RNG, to give me a login reward with dice rolls, man,
So if you don't know what it was, essentially, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure they still have it. It's the Black Spirit Adventure is your login. Is you have like your normal login rewards, right? Which are your normal track, and they have one for returning players, one for brand new, and then they have like a monthly one. Like you have so much time to get to the end of the track. Regular login reward, you log in, you're online for 30 minutes, you get your reward. So you can't just like log in and log out. You have to stay on for like 30 minutes or an hour. But they had one that was like the Black Spirit Choose Your Own Adventure, and this had like the most random things in there, like just random mats for the game or like boosters and stuff like that. And then you rolled this D6, and whatever it landed on was how many spaces you moved. And you got 3 rolls in a day. And you could complete as many laps as you wanted around it. And sometimes you opened up secret little passages that like were shortcuts, and I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
I don't think I'd like it for login rewards, but I think it'd be fun to have in this game. Little Ortis board game.
My problem with it was when this base system of your game involves an RNG chance to upgrade a piece of gear, and if you fail, you could be set back like as little as I played, because I'm a filthy casual if you're just tuning in. As little as I played, like that could set me back 2 weeks worth of grinding to lose a level on a weapon.
Yeah, that's fair, because it could break the entire thing.
Right, yeah. So, like, depending on how brutal they wanted to treat you with the RNG that week, to include RNG in your login, like, that sucked. Yeah. That hurt.
Yeah. So I'm glad he's making at least this change. It gives you that choose your own adventure a little bit, but it's still, I still think it's fair, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but I think a lot of people, not everybody, but I think a lot of people's fears were quelled a little bit, because it's not like you're going to have people who've only been playing the game for 2 weeks running around with Zenistar.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's still going to take them some time to get there. Not as much as it did, you know, for some of you. And I understand that that's a little rough, but I think, you know, I still hold true to what we said in that episode is, the weapons should never have been part of the login reward.
Exactly. And same thing with the mods. Yeah, those should have never been there.
That just shouldn't have happened. And I think, you know, in hindsight, I think they know that, and that's why they're doing something now. But, you know, it's a shame they didn't catch it before they had players at 1,000 days.
Yeah. So I guess this is like a positive for them of, you know, not putting something behind a cash wall or an arbitrary thing. But they did talk about the vent kids again. 1, I love every single time they bring up the Vent Kids. 2, I love that they're going to still probably call them the Vent Kids, because I'm pretty sure the community has attached to that name. But they showed some of the actual art decks, and they showed the art in like the size style of the deck that you can put on your K drive. But they're also going to be posters for your ship, and the only way to get them in game is by doing tricks. You can't get them in the cash shop.
Yep. I
appreciate that.
Yeah. Big round of applause there. Like, it would have been really tempting, because there are ship decorations in the cash shop, and that's fine. I don't begrudge them of that at all. But it is nice to see something like, you know, hey, this really cool, like completely anachronistic artwork that, you know, really shouldn't exist in this world. It seems out of place as hell, but it's beautiful.
Let's
be honest here. The 13-year-old in me that played Tony Hawk once was like, oh my god, I need that.
I know,
but
right?
The Kaya Dethane is my favorite one.
Yes.
Silence!
Yeah.
She's screaming silence across the bottom, but it just has this surreal look to it. But I was so happy to see, like, we're not putting it in the cash shop.
Yeah, this also makes me really excited right now, because slowly but surely, with what little time I have, I've been going into our dojo, and on our main floor, I took the lighting way down, and I had people saying like, man, it's really dark in here. And I'm like, I know, just wait.
We're so edgy.
And on the very top floor, I've put up some Tenno walls that you can kind of see through, and I'm building an arcade up there, with the goal of getting all of those new mini games, the Frame Fighter, Warmulus, the Flappy Bird with Zephyr and stuff like that, and the other ones, and putting a bunch of those consoles up there to turn it into an arcade, so people don't have to worry about buying those themselves. They can come to the dojo and play them.
Yup.
Which will be super fun for everybody, and we can do like fun little contests and stuff in there. But these posters are going to make that look so much cooler.
Yeah, these posters, and we need to get an Employee of the Month.
Yeah, we need to get some of the John Prodman stuff in there.
We need a few.
So yeah, I'm super excited for these.
And anything we can get that looks like, and I'm sure they'll add this because of what Fortuna looks like, But anything we can get that looks like cheap neon lights.
Yep. Or we just need to find that dojo of the guy that created the Fortuna and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what
did
he used. You know.
If you haven't seen that, I think they covered that. Was it 2 dev streams ago?
I think so, yes.
This somebody had turned their dojo into like a mock-up of Fortuna, and it looks amazing.
It looks really good. Speaking of dojos, and this is not on our outline, but I saw it today when I opened up the app this morning, that there is the dojo remaster contest coming.
Ooh.
So, Jeremy, have you heard of this?
I have not, actually.
Right,
This is new to me.
So what this is, essentially, this dojo remastered, is if you think you have a worthy dojo, you can submit it basically to get featured. So they're actually introducing the dojo contest.
Oh, nice.
And there are going to be 5 winners, I think. I think it's 5. I know there's at least like a couple different prize levels you can get it. But first place, and every single platform can compete in this. But first place gets featured on the star chart, which means that your dojo is accessible to everybody. So people can come and visit your dojo. And they're going to try to look at doing this sometime again in the future so we can rotate out featured dojos and stuff like that. First place gets like 50 or 5,000, I think, platinum for your clan.
Nice.
So you get that platinum, which means you're able to rush stuff, pay for construction, and kind of decorate a little bit faster with that platinum. But yeah, and you get a special awesome trophy. And the only way to get that trophy for your dojo is to win the competition.
So cool.
So you get this really cool this really cool trophy that you can throw up, and it's like a cool trophy. It's really cool. I'm super excited. Our dojo is nowhere near ready for this.
No way.
I haven't had the time nor the funds nor anything like that. The only requirements are you're either a founding warlord for the clan, or you're a member with the architect rank. So you need to be able to do the editing for the dojo to be able to get in. But yeah, definitely check this out. I'm super excited. A lot of, they say videos or pictures, and then like a little bit of like explanation if you want about what you did and why. So I'm super excited to see all of these because Mama's going to get some inspiration from you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't know they were bringing that on.
Yes, and it's got announced.
They'd mentioned it in the past that they wanted to do that. So it's cool to see that's starting to
Yeah, they're actually doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So I'm super excited, but I just wanted to hop in there because I know we were talking about the event kit art. But with the K drives now, the summoning on those is working a lot differently. So when you summon your Arcwing now, you're not going to have to drop that little pod on the ground, which means no longer can you steal someone else's Arcwing
or accidentally run into it. Don't throw me under the bus like that.
It's okay. I've totally stolen some before. So you don't drop it on the ground. It just equips it instantly. And same thing with the K drive. But the Arcwing one is actually going to be shipping with mainline too. So when you're on the Plains of Eidolon and you toss down that pack, it's no longer going to be sitting there. You're immediately just going to equip it and go.
So what I really liked about this was when they got Reb Ford to fly her K drive off a cliff and then switch to Arcwing midair.
Yes.
That was sweet.
Yep.
And then, that was cool.
And then speaking with the K drives, there's new tricks that are going in, which is super awesome. And you can deal damage with your K drives.
Yeah, so that was weird. So, I mean, not in a good way though, but so they talked about that pretty briefly, but they mentioned something about upgrades for the K drive. There's going to be a spread of them. There's going to be some that are like statistical improvements for the cave drive, how fast it goes, that sort of thing.
Yes.
And then there's going to be a set of mods that inflict damage when you do stuff like flip and land on an enemy with the K drive, and ram enemies with it. So that's cool, I guess. Like,
it's interesting.
I don't know. I'm just going to have speed mods and stuff. Like, honestly, that's cool, but there's a new feature going in that I'm going to be using to do damage while I'm K driving more than anything.
Yes.
And that's this cool trick. And again, I know we're pointing to it a lot, but if you haven't watched last week's dev stream, definitely check this part out too.
Yeah, because this part was really cool. And the fact that Reb4 did it.
And when you pull up the overview page, the GIF they have of Reb4 doing it, you almost can't tell what she's doing.
Yeah, it goes by so quick.
Yeah, so if you watch the whole lead up to it, it's much easier to figure out what's going on. But essentially, while you're flying through the air on your K drive, you can dismount, which will let you use your guns, go into bullet time mode when you're aiming, shoot somebody, and then before you hit the ground, hit your K drive again, and it will appear underneath you. And if you kill someone while you're flying through the air, that actually gives you points towards tricks.
Yeah, it gives you bonus rep for doing kills,
which is so cool. Like, so that's going to make like races, and well, not races specifically, but if you're like grinding around, just trying to grind out some rep, grinding, double entendre. But if you're just like going around Orb Valis grinding for Vent Kid rep, you can, grind down the rail and then jump up in the air, shoot a couple Corpus and land. And then that grind is going to give you exponentially more points, which is awesome. Like, I love how like all the systems they seem to be adding seem to just keep folding over each other. Like they're always like, there doesn't seem to be like, oh, here's that one random thing you can do that doesn't matter, but you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely seems like this is a lot more, like everything kind of just is interacting a lot better. It doesn't feel like there's just something there that's just pointless.
And kind of speaking of along those lines is caves.
Yes.
Because I personally, unless you're mining for resources, feel like caves on the plains of Eidolon are largely pointless.
And they kind of piss me off that you can only get to certain ones when you're doing bounties.
Yeah.
Like they block off parts of the map that you can't get to.
Yeah, there's one on the coast, and you go inside the cave, and then it spits you out on like the shore. And it's beautiful. It's probably the most gorgeous part of the plains, and I've only seen it one time during a bounty.
Yep. And we like blitz through it because by the time I finally caught up to them, they were already in and out. So I only got to like see
the other players. This is why I don't do bounties in public games anymore.
Nope. Unless I just need it.
Yeah, I just need to slow down. It's the plains.
But the caves are massive. They are huge, but they're also, if you learn them, they're also like shortcuts.
Yeah, so that's what they talked about, is if you take the time, and it doesn't seem to be a mechanic of the game, it just seems to be like spatial awareness and personal memory, but it looks like, and what they said is, as you learn the layouts of the caves, you'll actually be able to use them to bypass like corpus camps and stuff, and it'll work as a shortcut. You don't have to go around that giant mountain. You can go right through it. And
which I think is a big step up from Cetus right now and Plains of Eidolon, because those caves have one entrance and then that exit. The entrance is the exit. So you go down and then you come back up. There's very few that you come down and come up someplace else.
There are a few where you can.
Yeah.
But a lot of those, like, it's almost faster to not take that route because the cave itself is kind of twisty and narrow, and you could have just... I think the biggest problem with Arcwing, and I don't know that this is going to go away in Orb Valis, but I said Arcwing. Oh, I spoiled my own point, but it's Arcwing. Because if you're on the plains, you just pop your Arcwing on and you get wherever you want in a matter of seconds. And Orb Valis isn't technically going to be any different.
Well,
but instead they're incentivizing not using Arcwing.
I was going to say they did say that it is still a hazardous area, so there's going to be reasons not to go on Arcwing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means, if we're going to be like flying through gas and it'll kill you or what, but they said that the K drive will be faster than Arcwing. Yeah,
my guess too is like, I'm kind of a passive player. There's a lot of stuff that I do that, I just accumulate. Like we were talking about it in Discord, and had I not been gifted Avara, I would actually have an Avara, but I never tried to get Avara. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't go out and say, all right, because I see people doing this in the Discord, and it always breaks my heart when they get dejected by the end of the day, but they're like, I'm going to grind for Avara tonight. And, 4 hours later, they're like, yeah, fuck this game. Like, I just can't do the RNG tonight. I'm like, I didn't think Avara was that bad because I was already doing spy missions anyway. So, and I feel like that is how Vent Kid rep is going to be for me. I'm going to use the board because the tricks are infinitely cooler than the Arcwing. Mm-hmm. So eventually I'm going to be maxed out on rep with the Vent Kids all the time, just because that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be swimming like a dolphin and doing flips and shit.
Well, speaking of Arcwing, something that they're doing that looks kind of cool is they showed a base, kind of like a perfect, really bad environment, but just to show the model and the weapons, is you're eventually going to be able to use your Arcwing weapons on land.
So before any of you start rolling your eyes saying Arcwing is the worst part of the game, there's actually hidden in this wonderful nugget of knowledge, because I'm super excited. There's actually really good information here. Upgrades to Arcwing weapons are coming. They did mention that they need to up the power curve. They mentioned these weapons need to be stronger. So that is just wonderful news. If you're not a fan of Arcwing because you don't like the movesets, the movement is being tightened up, and they do mention that. But for me, it's because I feel weak. I put all this effort into making my characters badass ninjas, and then I get into an Arcwing mission, and it just feels...
Yeah, I feel like I'm just like shooting beanbags.
Yeah. So to hear that they are looking into this, you know, that's amazing. And I'm super stoked about that. And I'm curious because they made such a point to make sure melee weapons can't clip through walls and everything, and taking that away. Is my Fluctus still going to shoot through walls? Because that's like a selling point for me with the Fluctus.
Yeah, that's why people use the Fluctus.
It's why I built it for sure. So, yeah. But they did say they're toying with the idea, and I really like this too. And I'll be this guy. Well, let me explain it first. So what they're saying is, they think that they're going to make it so that it takes up your primary and your secondary weapon slots.
Yes, instead of giving it like a special heavy weapon section.
Right.
It's going to be, you have to make that choice to use that weapon.
So, and I really like that, because if they're going to do it that way, that means it's got to be, it has to have a payoff. It has to be a powerful weapon to give up both your primary and your secondary for it. So I'm actually kind of digging that. That to me speaks volumes of the power curve that these heavy weapons are going to go through. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and they also kind of gave the drop. It's not really a drop, but they did say that Titania, Wukong, and Nyx are all being looked at right now, and Valbon is still on the list. So they are, even with like the Arcwing weapons and them doing that, they are still looking at frames too.
Right.
So it looks like we are going to be getting those changes. Now they didn't say how long it was going to be. They just said they're on the block, on the list of getting worked at. So I'm hoping that as we get through and we get this main line come out, and then we get Fortuna closer and Fortuna out, maybe we're looking at some other of these new changes coming in to kind of bring not only our weapons up to curve, but also our frames up to curve as well. And I definitely think those are the four, including Valmon, those are the four that I think at this point really need to be looked at.
I would agree with that. There's a few like Chroma and Ember that I think maybe got hit a little hard on the last pass. They maybe need brought up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you've been listening to season 1 of this, you know, I'm more of a buff everyone instead of a nerf one. So, you know,
bring everybody up to the curve.
I would rather see Ember and Chroma brought back up to where they were, and then just have any like Titania, Wukong, Valbon brought up to meet them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I definitely think so, because I know like Nyx isn't bad. She just needs changed a little bit now that the Revenant's out, and she's got some worthless abilities, i.e. Psychic Bolt.
Yep.
And then Titania and Wukong. I think with Titania and Wukong, the having the weapons be moddable did bring them up a little bit.
It definitely did for Titania, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think her core kit still needs worked, and same with Wukong. I think the staff being a weapon really kind of like made him a little bit more of a solid piece, but I still think the 1 through 3 skills are still missing something there. So I definitely am glad that they're looking at doing this, and that they are letting us know instead of letting us sit on the dark so the community keeps screaming, why aren't you fixing my frame? I
had an idea for an interesting change for Titania.
What was that?
And I'm not even going to pretend that there's even a modicum of balance here, but hear me out. Make her Razor Wing ability not cost any energy whatsoever. It's not a channeled ability. Maybe it costs to cast it, but then it changes the energy costs for her other abilities to pay off. So maybe they cost a little more when she's in Razor Wing. And because like I love channeled abilities unless you're supposed to be using other abilities during that channel. and then channeled abilities start to feel sluggish, and that's when Wukong, like, that's why I don't play him. Like,
Yeah.
you have 2 channel abilities, like, you just never have energy, and then you run out of energy and you don't have either of those abilities. So
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to see that changed. I think any ability that's channeled shouldn't be an ability that's intended to be on for more than a couple seconds. Like Revenant's channel and Mesa's channel makes sense because as soon as all the enemies in the immediate area are dealt with, you're good.
Yeah.
But when you get to like Titania and Wukong, who need those channeled abilities, it starts to feel more like I want to see them clean it up like they did with Nezha. With Nezha's, his fire trail is not channeled anymore, and that was a great change for him.
I could see them making her like little shrinking thing instead of a channel, make it a duration.
I could almost get behind that, with the exception of what happens when it runs out and you're on like the Cloud City map and there's no ground beneath you.
That's fair.
They would
Touché.
need to be careful about making that a duration based skill.
Exactly, which they could fix with some UI stuff, or
that's true. Yeah,
make it really obvious so you can pay attention to how much time you have, or make it castable while she's falling.
Yeah, that's
so
a
you can
thought.
bump it back to back to back. So I wanted to wrap up this episode with the TennoGen. If you have been listening, you know that Molu and I are big fans of Fashion Frame's Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
So we have some awesome ones. So I kind of want to just touch on some of the ones that we really are excited about here, because there are a lot, and I definitely go pull up the TennoGen round 14 and go take a look at all these Steam workshops. They are fantastic. The creators for these are amazing. They are doing work that I could never do. So with this, we have some weapons coming in. We got new rapier skins, a new great sword, and a new dagger. And we have our first TennoGen Opticore skin, which I think is really cool, actually.
Yeah, I thought the Opticore was nice. It was, all of the firearms that we've seen, not melee weapons, but the firearms have mostly just been like paint on top of the existing model.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Like, it's no offense to the creator, but it is a little difficult to get excited about that when it's still the Opticore.
Yeah, I think I'm more excited for the pattern on it.
The pattern is fantastic.
Yeah, it'll be a different... I think it's just because I'll be able to dye it differently. Because
yes.
I'm really kind of tired of the way the Opticore looks. I use it, that Arcoplasmor, so I really just want something to look different.
Yeah.
Even if it's just colors. Like, I'm not a big fan of the dye slots anymore.
Yeah, I definitely see that, yeah.
Yeah, I am excited for the Greatsword skin, though. That thing is gorgeous. It's very different.
Yeah.
It's like a saw blade almost.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like a two-handed saw blade. I don't know how to describe it, but it's weird, but it's cool.
It's an anime sword.
Okay, yeah. It's an anime sword. It's
Cloud's like leftover Buster sword. It's beautiful. I really like it.
Yeah. Now, I will say that dagger skin, though, is really cool as well. It's another one of those weird, like, military things. And the end of it makes me think of, like, a CO2 cartridge from, like, Airsoft or paintball.
Is it a Corpus theme? It looks Corpus, except it has, like, like you said, like, the hunting blade.
Yeah, I think it's... I would guess that it looks Corpus at this point, is my guess.
I don't know if that's just like because they used a blue, a silver, and a yellow. Like that could be why I think I get Corpus vibes.
Yeah.
Because it's not a laser blade, so that would be the obvious Corpus theme.
Yeah. And a big shout out to Faven, because I'm going to talk about your operator skins here in a second, dude. But that rapier skin.
So
so cool.
We were talking about this before the show, which we're not supposed to do. So I'm retreading a conversation, but
it's all good.
I think the most interesting thing about a Grax rapier skin is, of all of the melee weapons that exist in Warframe, I would never have pictured a Grineer using a rapier.
I know.
And if I knew that a Grax rapier was coming, I probably would have raised my eyebrows in suspicion, like, why? It's a rapier.
Yeah.
But you see it, and there's no mistake, like, that's a Grineer rapier. Boom,
and it's gorgeous, too.
Yeah, it's so cool. I really like it. And there's actually 2 rapiers. There's another one, too, that I really like. It almost looks like it has feathers on the back of it.
Yes, it's very Final Fantasy looking.
Yeah, I'll be picking that one up for my Blade of the Lotus setup.
Yes, I don't know, it has, you can definitely tell it's Orokin based on this one, with like the Orakin arches and stuff, but it just looks it just makes me think of a Final Fantasy weapon.
Yeah.
And it's really freaking gorgeous though. But still, we gotta move on because otherwise I'll be talking about the weapons all the time. There is a cool bandana that's coming in that's literally a lantern on your back.
I love it so much. I never wanted to have an anglerfish on my back as bad as this lamp.
Yeah, so that lantern looks really cool, and I think it'll actually be a perfect match with the new Limbo skin coming out.
I was thinking I'm probably going to use it with the Grax Necros.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be really good too.
Yep.
I'm a fan of this Limbo skin. This Limbo skin is literally Bloodborne as fuck.
Oh, it's so Bloodborne. And then in the reveal on the stream when his default animation takes the hat off and does the bow, like you don't see the eyes under the hat because of how he's standing, and then he tips the hat and he's got these great big like Iron Giant like perfect circle eyes. Oh, it was beautiful. I loved it.
And we're getting our first Gara Tennogen, which led 2012, man. You are killing it.
You are killing it.
So spoiler alert. It's not really spoiler alert, but we've actually been watching those tweets go up, just waiting at this point and seeing the updates. And I'm so excited that this Gara got approved.
I was thinking it was going to be the next one, not this coming wave, but
round
the following.
15.
The last time that I saw the image go up on the Twitter, I was like, oh, that's looking really good. But I don't know when they start the votes, like what the cutoff was. I was like, I don't know, is it going to make... Because I didn't know, like, where to go to vote for these or anything like that. So when I saw him in the lineup, and she does a real quick pan across all of them as she's resetting, and I was like, Gara's in there. I saw it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, so hands down, dude. Fantastic. I'm really excited because I hate Gara, actually.
I don't even play her that much.
I hate her.
I love her, but I don't play her that much. But this is a day one buy for me.
We've done this before when there's been like a really cool skin that come out that kind of has changed our mind because we put it on and we're like, man, I got the skin. I might as well play this frame. And then we play it and we're like, wow, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of you, that might have been Neza when Neza Deluxe came out. I hope so, because new Neza's fantastic.
It's hard to say for sure because his rebalance rework came out at the same time.
I know.
For me, my opinion changed a lot on Neja, both because of the better look and because like
the rebalance.
He just feels so good to play nowadays.
Yeah. And before we started, when we were looking through these again and kind of putting our list together, the Zephyr Grax is coming out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I love the Grax work. I love all of them, but I think it's just my hate of Zephyr. I just hate her too much to like any skin on her.
So this wins for me.
You think this is gonna be the top for you?
I love you, Led, and I love that someone finally bothered to make one for Gara, but I think this Zephyr wins this round for me.
Oh, really?
I do. I'm so sorry, but I do.
That's fair.
I love it. So, but there is a caveat, and I wish they'd start doing this. Mm-hmm. I want to see what it looks like with prime details on.
Yeah, that has been a huge thing when it came to the prime details because they can make or break.
Yep.
Some Tennogen stuff, or even just regular skins. I think any skin, the prime details, because I had that with Mag too. Because Mag's prime details on the Pharaoh skin actually made her better, made that skin better with the prime details on.
Yeah, and I think it's extra important for someone like Zephyr there is such a huge difference between the flippers and the feathers on her arms, and like she looks a lot different with the prime details on. Mirage looks a lot different with prime details on.
Rhino.
No.
Rhino's bulkiness.
He's
I
bulkier
think, looks
for
different.
sure.
Yeah, with his prime on.
The Hydroid.
Yes.
Hydroid, it's like two completely different frames. One's like a bundle of laundry and the other is like a pirate. You know, like it's completely different frames. So, you know, when you're like, I don't know if I want to get the Immortal skin for Hydroid because, you know, I want to see it on Prime Hydroid. And, you know, that sucks. Yeah. Whereas, like, I bit the bullet and I bought the Zephyr Immortal skin.
Yeah.
And when I put it on Zephyr Prime, it is beautiful. It's so good.
Really? With the details and everything?
Yup.
I don't know.
Because basically it just gives her like almost like a diamond pattern across like the majority of her body. So now mine is like black and white, almost like zebra, not quite zebra stripes.
Like checkerboardish, maybe.
Almost, yeah.
Somewhere in between.
It's all angles, so not quite checkerboard per se, but yeah, like it's a real great, like, changes up the base. I don't know, but they need to do Steam previews. Like, I do think that's something that I would love to see the TennoGen artists start doing, is if they have a
access
prime
to it.
Yeah, if they have a prime, like, I don't know, and this could be too difficult. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I understand if I'm way off base here. But it would be nice to see some previews of the prime details on
or
the TennoGen.
Or just if you go to the prime and try on the skin before you buy it, you can toggle it.
Oh yeah, if DE
with,
could give us that,
like a little button that if I'm on, Mirage Prime and I'm testing your skin or a TennoGen skin or a DE skin or whatever, I can hit with prime details, without prime details, just to see it. Well, just a nice quality of life.
The deluxe skins, you can't toggle prime details.
I know, but I was just thinking like something.
Yeah, I think
on
you
the ones that
should
we
be
can.
able to,
yeah.
But I realize some of those, that would really screw up the skin.
Yeah.
Some of the deluxe ones.
And for round 14, we finally get Operator TennoGen. It's lots of eyepieces and earpieces and stuff like that. So it's not like armor yet.
Right.
But it is a step in the right direction. And it's really cool seeing some of these that got put in are like 3 parts. So you have the earpiece, the eyepiece, and the face piece. And then all together, they build this really cool thing. And then they also look good separate. So it's really cool.
Yep.
Lots of eyepieces. Some of them were really neat. It's just that weird fascination with covering eyes.
My favorite one almost looks like butterfly wings.
Yeah, and
over
it's
kind
of like clearish coloring.
Yeah,
I
would
really
love to see how that one dies. I think the default on the Steam page is pink, and that wouldn't look good on my operator. She's wearing mostly black and gold, so the pink might look a little weird. I'd go for more of like a deep purple myself.
Yeah, and I love those. I'll probably be like picking up some of them just to like rotate in and out, especially now that we're going to be getting the multiple outfit slots coming in. But I think until that comes in, I just can't get rid of the one my looks now, and I cannot get rid of Umbra Scarf. Umbra Scarf is just too strong.
I mean, I made 2B. I can't like undo that. You know?
Can't like take it back.
What would become of the Yorha? Oh. Right in the feels. Oh, I can't do this right now.
Right in the feels. So definitely check out this dev stream if you haven't. There's a lot in there, and we just touched on. I feel like we just touched the surface of this dev stream, and that there was even more little nuggets.
I was gonna say, like, I almost feel like we went through this faster than they did, but looking at the time, like, we didn't. But yeah, exactly. I feel like we did.
Well, before we go for this episode, we do have a winner to announce for our Captura contest that ran for all this month.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys for the responses that we got. Holy crap. Y'all stepped up your game.
Yeah, this was
hard.
This was a great show.
Yeah.
You guys really stepped up as opposed to the summer one. Like, this was a really, really hard choice.
I think at one point we had it narrowed down to like 4.
Yep.
And that was like the lowest that I was able to get it to narrow down before we started, picking which one won. So we do have a winner. So our winner was submitted on our Discord in the Halloween contest Discord channel. And that winner is Snake Venom.
Hey!
Congrats. So this will be posted after this episode on YouTube, and you will see it as well on our website and all that other good stuff. So this one is fantastic. I love it. So Snake Venom kind of went out of the box a little bit and had another person in the photo with him, or with the Captura.
Yep.
Which I thought was really cool.
Are you going to split the prize with this other person?
Yeah. So Snake, get in. I know, right? So get in touch with us and let us know what platform we are looking at here, that you would like it, either Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. And we will via Steam, and we will get you set up here. So congratulations to you. I'm super excited. I love this thing to death.
Yep.
It was a really hard choice, but I think this one just ever so slightly eked it out.
So everybody go to the Discord and shower all of the posts with fun emojis and send some congrats to Snake. We'll leave the whole post up for at least another week.
Yep.
before we take that posted down, and then we'll display Snake's art where
and all the
all
good
over the
places.
place. Yeah, it's going to be quite
places.
a few things.
Yeah. So congrats. I'm so excited. And thanks for hanging out with us this week, guys. I hope you found the feed well and that everything is good to go. And we look forward to, playing some more Warframe and moving forward towards Fortuna.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm ready for Fortuna.
I'm ready for Fortuna. I'm ready for Railjack. I'm just ready for it all.
I'm ready for all
go.
of it.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. So I hope your drops are going wonderful. I hope you are getting all of those wonderful new chroma relics that are out there and all those delicious weapons. And until next time, stay safe, Tenno. One Couple Verses is produced and edited by Rebecca and Jeremy Goodrich. Music was provided for the show by Purple Planet Music. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at One Couple Verses, and you can also find links to the official Facebook and YouTube below in the description. Also, you can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/onecoupleverses. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.